joyful voice be heard. Let no man look up at the sky with hope. And let this day be cursed by we who ready to wait. The Kraken!
Alright, episode number 1, Megalodon and Kraken. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
I'm ready.
Let's go then. Let's kiss.
Alright, okay, Megalodon. Do you know what that translates to?
I don't.
Big tooth.
Big tooth. Where does that come from?
Yeah. It's Greek actually.
It's Greek.
So it actually translates from the Megalodon Karchakalis. It's Greek, so it's quite difficult. I've actually written it out how to pronounce it here, so I was having much fucking trouble.
Spell it out for me then.
Carcharocles.
How the fuck does that say megalodon?
I don't know. I had to look it up. No, that's like the species. The Karchocles megalodon. Don't make me say it again. It's a member of an extinct species of megatooth shark, and it's considered to be the largest that ever existed. And it was like a top contender for the largest fish that ever existed. So it's not the biggest, but, you know, it's in the top 3.
So it's not the biggest, but it's one of the largest.
One of. I mean, it says that the reference maximum size was like 18 meters in length, or for you metric people... Oh, sorry, imperial people, that's like 59 feet. So pretty big. Which is roughly... Yeah, I had a look. That's roughly 8 Shaquille O'Neal stacked on top of each other.
8 Shaqs.
Yeah, 8 Shaqs or 13 Danny DeVitos. Yeah.
8 Shaqs. Fucking hell, that's
yeah.
that's a lot bigger than I thought.
8 Shaquille. He's pretty big.
He's like 7 foot tall, isn't he?
Yeah.
And it's 8 of them all.
So 8 of him. Mm-hmm.
That's a big shark.
Yeah, and they weighed, I mean, around 30 to 50 tons. Yeah, pretty thick. So.
Here's the thing.
What?
Here's just the key question. Let's just get this out of the way first of all. Could you beat one in a fist fight?
Easy.
Easy work.
Fuck me.
Lightweight. Like,
wouldn't even get hit.
So, like, you're out at sea, right?
I'm in the ocean, or is it on land? Because if it's on land, I dare say I've got an advantage.
Alright, hear me out. You're in the ocean, right? There's a little island next to you. An island, I know, say 30 meters long, right? Little island. Yeah. And you're swimming, right? And there's a megalodon under you. And you're looking at it, and you're not scared. You're just like, yeah, it's time. Like, who wins?
Fuck this thing. Start walking in the water.
All right, actually, no. Let's do this for reference. Since you already gave us this reference. Who wins? 7 Shaqs or a megalodon?
8 Shaqs.
8 Shaqs and a megalodon. Who wins?
The real question is who wins between 13 Danny DeVitos and a megalodon.
13 Danny DeVitos and 8 Shaqs.
Easy, bro. Easy. I'd put money on Danny.
Oh, you're right.
But, yeah, because these sharks don't have skeletons, they don't have bone skeletons, so fossils haven't really been found apart from teeth. Yeah. So the estimates on its size are based on their tooth size. So that leads scientists to believe that signs of the megalodon have been found dating from early Miocene epoch, which is roughly 23 million years ago, and as recent as 2.58 million years ago. So pretty long ago, pretty long extinct, they think. No real recent evidence of a megalodon in terms of tooth dating.
That could be.
No, I mean, when people first... What's that?
I said that could be because none are dying. None are dying. None are dying.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you see, this is big brain talk. None are dying.
Thinking outside the box. Yeah, I gotcha. But when people first encountered their teeth, they thought they were rocks from the moon, and they're said to be like 7 inches in height.
7 inches?
Yeah,
that's a big tooth.
Yeah, it's quite big. Yeah. I mean, yeah, size isn't supposed to really matter, but 7 inches is quite large in terms of teeth.
Did they, what was the freaking thing called? The thing that, don't sharks, I don't know if you knew anything and read anything about it, did they have anything that cleaned their teeth? Because apparently sharks get, like, fishes to clean their teeth.
Oh, yeah, like little, like, cuck fishes to latch on and clean their teeth. Yeah, like I think so. I didn't read anything about it in terms of the megalodon, but yeah, that's for sure a thing. I don't know if it's for sharks, though. I know, like, whales, maybe.
Crocodiles, too, I think.
Whales are the fucking alphas of the sea. They just get little fishes to do shit for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like
They're so big brain.
They're like the elephants in Jungle Book. Everything just is their bitch.
I haven't seen Jungle Book.
Haven't you?
Never seen it.
Any of them? You've never seen a Jungle Book?
Am I missing out?
Yeah, it's quite good.
I'll watch it tomorrow. As soon as we're done with this, I'll watch it.
Alright, continue. Hit me with it. Hit me some more evidence.
Yeah, so I'll go into a bit of the sightings, alright? So, this is the most famous sighting, which is the Port Stephens sighting in 1918, and it's in New South Wales, so pretty close to home. For those of you who don't know, we are from Australia, so yeah.
We are paid actors. We aren't real.
Yeah.
We don't exist as a country. We're just paid to do this.
So I'll read the article from 1918. It goes for a couple minutes, but I didn't want to leave anything out.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty jam-packed. So I'll just read the thing. It'll go for a couple of minutes, and then we'll talk about it. Right. So a shark story from Port Stephens is regarded by Mr. D.G. Stead, manager of the trawling industry, as having some solid foundation. It concerns a shark of extraordinary length and his still more extraordinary habits. Mr. Stead says, while standing on the Nelson's Bay wharf watching the packing of some lobsters or crayfish for the Sydney market, the fishermen were asked, in view of a recent hard blow from the southeast, if they had lost many lobster pots. They were very excited at this and spoke not of the storm, but of what they termed one great big shark. It was alleged by the fishermen that for several days a huge shark of hitherto unknown magnitude had put in an appearance. It was destroying lobster pots, eating the pots and all, as the Greek fishermen put it. The average crayfish or lobster pot is about 3 foot 6 inches across and frequently holds from 2 to 3 dozen fair-sized lobsters. Mr. Stead questioned the men very closely, but they would not budge one bit, being very empathetic about the occurrence of the shark and as to its size. One of the fishermen, when asked to give the dimensions of the shark, stated that it was about 115 foot long. When the idea of this length was openly scouted, he still persisted most excitedly about the immense length of the fish, and said that it was as long as a wharf on which the party was standing. He further stated that the shark's head was as big as the roof. In this instance was fairly large, being the roof of the shed on the wharf. This was quite obviously a wild exaggeration. In addition to this fish taking the lobster pots, the men reported that one of the launches had a large... one of the launches, I guess they called the pots, had a large place bitten out of it by a shark, so that the launch had to be beached for repairs. Mr. Stead is of the opinion that the sincerity of the men cannot be doubted. Although he thinks that they have greatly exaggerated the size of the shark, he thinks, however, that they have seen a shark much larger than any hitherto unknown... He thinks, however, that they have seen a shark much larger than any hitherto recorded on this coast, and makes the suggestion that what they saw was extraordinary example of the great white shark. This shark is known to occur on the coast. The largest seen by Mr. Stead is about 20 feet in length, but it is known to attain a length of about 40. The United States exploring steamer Albatross, obtained in the Pacific Ocean, apparently recently shed teeth of a huge shark allied to the white pointer, or great white. Judging by the size of the teeth, the shark from which the teeth came could not have been less than 80 feet in length. It is quite possible that such sharks exist even in our seas, but that they remain usually in very deep water. Mr. Stead feels that many will be inclined to scout the whole story and to think either he has allowed his leg to be pulled or that he is trying to spring a fish story on the public, but he is willing to put up with that. So that's the whole article, pretty much ripped from the newspaper.
Yeah, well.
So, I mean, condensed, Greek fishermen thought they saw a massive shark that destroyed their lobster pots. So,
yeah,
I mean, what do you believe that? Do you buy that?
See, like, this was a similar thing I was finding with the Kraken, is a lot of people, I guess, say things to account for their, I guess, fuck-ups.
Yeah, no, I've actually got a point that I wrote about that. So there were Greek immigrants, which at the time could indicate a language barrier and unfamiliarity with the local sea life, and also they could just be like covering their losses, you know? Yeah. They could have fucked up majorly and said, "Oh, shark did it."
Yeah, easily. And also, I think if you haven't seen a great white shark before, you're kind of surprised at how big they are. Like, which makes it, I guess, a little bit more impressive how big the Megalodon was. How big did you say it was again?
18 meters or 59 feet. It's 8 shacks.
Jesus Christ. Okay. And I don't think... How big did they say they thought it was?
They said 115, so that's almost double.
Yeah, right.
And it's great. You can tell it's greatly exaggerated.
Could it have been an orca?
Well, I've got a theory about it.
Yeah.
But first, I've got a quote from Stead. He said they were all familiar with whales, which they had often seen passing at sea. So they're familiar with whales. They're fishermen. I mean, you don't have to go right out to see whales. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess they can tell. But there's also another quote which he said they knew that the person they were talking to, which is himself, had heard all the fish stories years before. One of the things that impressed me was that they all agreed as to the ghostly whitish colour of the vast fish.
Yeah. Okay.
So they seemed to think that it was like bleach white.
Okay.
So this is sort of my disproving for this. Is that, like I said, they were Greek immigrants, so they're probably unfamiliar with the local sea life, and that includes whale sharks.
Okay.
Now, whale sharks are apparently 18 meters in length.
Yep.
But they're not aggressive, and they're known for their friendly behavior, because they'll often swim aside boats and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, if you got your notes open, go to the very last page. I've thrown a picture up there of an albino whale shark.
I'll run down.
Tell me that does not look like a megalodon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big shark.
You see that?
That is a big shark.
That's an albino. I'll put, for anyone that can't see it, obviously, because this is audio only, I'll throw it up on our Instagram when we've published the episode. Just have a look along with some other photos I've got. But it's pretty much an albino whale shark. This thing, it looks like a megalodon almost exactly.
Yeah, it does fit the description pretty well. And how big do they get?
18 meters.
18.
But they're really friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big old shark.
Mm. I don't really... Yeah, I subscribe more to the theory that they've fucked up.
Yeah.
And then they've tried to cover their losses, you know?
Yeah, I see. That's the big thing, especially with like old sightings, is you don't know, I guess, how factual. Like, obviously, no one's going to be able to tell if they actually saw a megalodon, but like, if
yeah, well, I should mention that this article was actually recounted 40 years in the future, so that's a whole recounting. So, I mean, 40 years is a long time. You could forget a lot of stuff. You could remember stuff differently.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, the way the brain works is so weird. If you think something happened but it didn't really happen, the way you think it happened will become the reality of the story.
Yeah, especially if you've told a story. Like, there's obviously something to I guess, like, I don't know if romanticizing is the word, but like mythifying. That's not a word, but
I know what you mean.
Say if you're telling a story to your grandkids or whatever, and you're like, oh, you should have.
You want to hype it up.
Yeah, you want to be like, I saw this giant freaking shark. It was huge. It ate all my crabs. Sick. And then,
like this one time, I saw Shaquille O'Neal on the bottom of 7 other Shaquille O'Neals just stacked on top of each other. It was crazy.
It was eating all my crabs. Like,
it was fucking eating all my crabs.
Next to it was 13 Danny DeVitos. Like, fuck.
They're all swimming in single file. Were you there?
Oh, prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
I saw it, therefore it's real.
I've got a couple other sightings. There's really not many for the megalodon.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the 60s, the captain of a 55-foot ship reported that a white shark, at least as long as the boat, passed by while they sat at an anchor.
Yeah.
So 55-foot ship, 59-foot shark. I mean, could be a whale shark, don't know. Yeah. That's all I really found regarding that.
They didn't have much else?
No, not much else was reported regarding that. It was very hard to find.
Yeah, okay.
The last one I've got here is regarding the HMS Challenger. So, bear with me, because this is a Slavic name. I think it's Russian, Ukrainian. So, like, give me a minute. So, in 1959, it's not Vladimir, it's with a W, so... Vladimir? Yeah, I'm going to say Vladimir. That's not even the hard part. Right, Vladimir Chernesky. Yeah, Vladimir Chernesky analysed 2 teeth dredged from the sea floor by the HMS Challenger expedition in 1875. He attempted to date the teeth based on measuring the layer of manganese dioxide on them. Chernesky came to the conclusion that the first tooth was only 11,000 years old, with the second only 24,000 years old, which far postdates the expected extinction by roughly 2.58 million years ago. However, 11,000 years old, that would mean that there were still megalodons 11,000 years ago. They were supposed to be extinct 2.5 million years ago. It just doesn't add up.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
But, it was disproven in the 70s by scientists G.M. Belyaev and L.S. Glickman, who noted that Sherensky's calculations were wrong, giving him an incorrect dating method. Much like Big Rig, in terms of the incorrect dating method.
That was a low blow, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You're just going to fucking throw a dig in me there, Paul.
When I wrote that, I thought that would be funny.
No, you're good. So that was disproven straight off the bat.
Yeah, it was something to do with the method in which he was dating it.
Yeah.
That manganese dioxide doesn't instantly form.
Yeah.
When the teeth are discarded. I mean, I'd love to get into the science of it, but I can assure you that I will not be able to comprehend it. I'm sure listeners will be able to, but I cannot. And B, the guy was proven wrong.
Yeah, that makes it a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Like, especially by scientists. I don't know how credible they might have been. Wait.
They published a few papers on it, which you can. I mean, I'm sure I'll pop a link in the Instagram post or on the description of this podcast to a few of my stuff, my references, but yeah, they are definitely not 24,000 years old.
Yeah, well, isn't there a whole thing? I don't know where I saw this, but like, Megalodon are almost impossible to still be around just due to the energy consumption they would have needed to, I guess, be alive.
Perfect segue. What
What have you got?
That's so, I mean, with the conclusion of those sightings, I've got my first theory, which is my main theory, which is my only theory, which is that the Megalodon is still living in the Mariana Trench. Alright? Bear with me.
Alright.
So, the Mariana Trench, for those who don't know, is located in the Western Pacific around the Philippines. It's a crescent-shaped scar that measures more than 2,550 kilometers long, or 69 kilometers wide on average.
69.
You laugh at that? Should have just lied and changed it to 70.
Yeah. You're
Distance from the surface of the ocean and the trench's deepest point is roughly 11 k's. So, pretty much, if Mount Everest were placed into the trench, its peak would still be 1.6 kilometers underwater. So, pretty big. Pretty deep.
A long way down.
Yeah, pretty deep. The trench is in constant darkness, with roughly 8 tons of pressure per square inch, which is roughly the amount of pressure I felt preparing this podcast, with the deepest part named Challenger Deep. So, to put it in perspective, only 3 people have descended into Challenger Deep that far. One of them is our boy James Cameron, director of Titanic and Avatar.
Yeah, right. He did it in the big yellow submarine thing, didn't he?
Yeah, the yellow submarine. He just went right down there.
He's done it.
I don't know why.
Has he done it once or twice?
I think he's done it twice, but I know he's definitely done it at least once.
Yeah.
At least once.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird guy. But
directs Avatar,
apparently
doesn't release the
doing it.
movie, goes to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
What could you want?
He's just doing side quests at this point. Yeah, so in the 60s it was proven by Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh that fish do exist and can live in that deepest part of the ocean. Piccard later reminisced in his book, which is a quote from him, "Here in an instant was the answer the biologist had asked for the decades." Piccard wrote, "Could life exist in the greatest depths of the ocean? It could," end quote. I don't know if I just said before, but Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh were the other 2 people that went to Challenger Deep.
Okay.
So
And they did it in the 60s. in the 1960s.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they went down there and they discovered fish. It includes translucent animals called holothurians, jellyfish, and octopuses. Octopuses.
One of the two.
So yeah, there's some goopy shit down there for sure.
Yeah.
Some gummies.
So just like you just go down there and you just get freaking blobfish. You're just swimming around. And you're like, yeah, I'm at the bottom of the sea. You look down. You see.
I tell you what. You see a what?
Huh? Oh, you're at the bottom. You're looking around. You're like, yeah, this is sick. Can't see the surface. Can't see anything around me. You get your flashlight out. You see a megalodon. Look to your right. You see a blobfish. And you just you're living your best life.
The one end of the fucking spectrum, you get the megalodon, then you got the blobfish.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like just two polar opposites.
In researching this, I am now a true believer in thalassophobia.
You're a true believer in thalassophobia.
I have it now. I know for a fact that I have that fear.
Really?
Of the deep water. Fuck that.
Why though? I guess there's a lot of stuff in there, but at the same time...
Dude, you're telling me if someone dropped you in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you're just sat there like a... What do they call those things? Like they bob above the water?
A buoy.
Yeah, a buoy. Just in the buoy. In the middle of the ocean, you're just sat there like a buoy. And you look down, it's pure black, and you know for a fact that there's shit under there that could kill you. They can see you can't see them. Because the sun's... Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a...
Sorry.
That's a polar op. Like, if you're obviously dropped in the middle of the ocean, you can't see any land around, obviously you're going to be scared. But if you swam out there, and you've got, like, stuff around you, you're in a big yellow submarine like your boy, James Cameron, you're like... Yeah, this is like the ocean's my bitch right now.
If I'm in James Cameron's submarine, I've probably got like machine guns and shit. I would not be worried. He's probably got like props that he's fashioned into real weapons from that Avatar movie.
He's just Doom guy in the bottom of the ocean.
That would not bother me. He's literally king of Atlantis at this point. But if I'm just by myself, that's scary.
Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah.
You're not scared of that?
Yeah, well, obviously. But, like, I think it's also a conditioning thing. This is getting a bit off topic. But if you're in, like...
Let's go.
If you've been in the ocean before, and you're, like... I don't know, like me, I grew up next to the beach. So swimming around in it and looking down and seeing, like, nothing but black, it doesn't really hit you as hard as, I guess, someone that's only learned to swim later in life and is still trying to experience all that stuff. Like, I've seen sharks in the water. I've seen dolphins in the water. It can be pretty scary, but you get used to it. But obviously, if you're dropped in the middle of, like, whoop, you're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, you got nothing around you. You just look down, you see black, and you're like, fuck. You look around, there's a Kraken next to you. You're like, yeah, nah. Look to your left, Megalodon. You're like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I guess I just haven't been conditioned.
Yeah, it's just because you're a pussy.
Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, given all that information, getting back to it, Mariana Trench, people ask the question, could it still be down there? Could it be floating around, just chilling? Well, excellent segue again. Can the Megalodon survive in these conditions? I mean... It said it would have had to adapted to that environment and pressure, because it's what was it? 8 tons of pressure, which is a lot because it's so far down. And it would have had to find 1,100 kilos of food per day.
Bulking season.
So
Jesus Christ. That's
sunlight doesn't really reach. It's a lot. Sunlight doesn't really reach the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
So there isn't really any photosynthesis, which means that there's not a lot of food. And like I said before, a lot of those creatures that Picard found down there, really small jellyfish, little holothurians, just typical small little crustaceans, I guess you could call them.
Yeah.
Just picture really small things. There's nothing big down there because the amount of food is really minuscule.
Yeah,
And it said that animals often survive on scavenging the decaying remains of plants and others. So it's like sort of kill or be killed down there in terms of hunger.
It's like Valheim, but at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so, I mean, if it was down there, you'd have to find a ridiculous amount of food.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So I guess it's kind of left up in the air that most likely it's not around, but at the same time, there's a chance. So is that your conclusion, or like where are you at in terms of?
I was going to say, should we come back to it after the Kraken and compare the two?
We could. The Kraken's a bit different. We'll just move on to the Kraken, I guess, now, because the Kraken's a bit different because I don't know. Did you have any more to say? I feel.
No, I'm done.
No, you're done.
Go nuts.
The Kraken's a bit of a different case because giant squid do exist. They are 100% a real creature. But we'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll jump straight into this.
All right, Kraken.
The Kraken
Moving
now,
on.
baby.
This episode is sponsored by cryptidcontrol.com. Do you ever lay awake at night hearing voices but can't quite pinpoint where they're coming from? Are you concerned about the scratching and rattling coming from your ceiling? Are these voices different from the ones in your head? Well, Cryptid Control has you covered with the Wall Scanner 2.0. Gone are the days of taking a tinfoil coated hammer to your walls. With its intuitive design, the Wall Scanner 2.0 can detect spies in your walls for up to 12 hours of battery life. We've listened to your feedback from the previous model and improved it. The Wall Scanner 2.0 now features a fully extendable microwave jammer, so you don't have to worry about that 5G tower across the road. For listeners of this podcast, starting now until the 10th of Feb, you will receive a complimentary tapped phone line inspection with every purchase of the Wall Scanner 2.0. Just visit cryptidcontrol.com and use code TALLTALE. That's cryptidcontrol.com and use code TALLTALE.
Kraken, big octopus. Most notably seen in popular, I guess, fiction, such as Pirates of the Caribbean 2 at World's End. Check out gameplay of that on Sea of Thieves. We played the Tall Tales for that. Yeah, quick plug. Check that out.
Shameless plug.
It's getting put on YouTube. It's good fun. Anyway, the Kraken is most, I guess, famously a northern Scandinavian kind of myth. Originally, the first reported documentation of a big old squid was in 1180 from a Norwegian's King Sverre. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he described as he was sailing one day and he described as seeing, I guess, a giant octopus thing as being as large as an island. Doesn't give an accurate description of how big an island is, because an island could be anything from a little speck of sand to Australia.
What's the technical term for an island?
Yeah.
How big technically should an island be?
Who knows? But he just described it as an island. So I guess you're thinking of a deserted island, a little...
I guess, yeah.
And it was...
Still pretty big.
Yeah, definitely. And it was capable of sinking ships with ease. And it was predominantly found between the seas of Iceland and Greenland, which I don't know what were called back then. I guess it was just called Snowy Place and Green Mountains. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was also two other common, I guess, giant squid or kraken, because the name of the kraken hadn't actually been documented till 1755 by this, I think he was French. Hang on a sec.
So kraken's a French term. That's
No,
really
Norwegian.
interesting. I
Norwegian.
wouldn't have
My
thought
bad. He
that.
was not French. He was
Okay.
Norwegian. My bad. Anyway, off track.
I was going to say if he was French,
Yeah, different story than I
take his word with ease.
I don't trust a Frenchman.
Expect me to believe that this thing's real when France isn't even real? Give me a break.
France, what is that? Even a place? They just got a big tower and that's it. Anyway, giant squid been described in old Nordic folklore with two types of kraken. Like, what's the things that go around? No, I don't know. These were named the Hufgufa and the Lingbucker and shared common features with this kraken, but the only real thing they have in common was their giant size and the aggressiveness towards ships. Now,
And sorry, these are a type of squid? Sorry?
this was just like old Nordic legends almost of just
like
different,
folklore.
yeah, like different types of giant squid they described in their I guess
Oh, okay.
in their game's lore.
Sweet.
Anyway, krakens, because there is so much, I guess so little actual myth on them, they decide the sizes of them are like massive. Like there's a massive size discrepancy, with some being described as obviously the size of an island, with others being described as large as 100 feet or 30 meters for normal people.
So
And there's-
another case of that exaggeration, huh?
Yeah. And as large as 4,000 pounds or 1,800 kilos, although some have been described as kilometers in length. That's a big old squid.
Kilometer.
Some have also been described with their tentacles as long as 33 feet or 10 meters long. Again,
Oh my God.
there's a massive discrepancy because there's so many counter arguments, I suppose, on how big these things really were because they were myth.
I gotcha.
The first name of the Kraken was, again, by this Norwegian that I mistook as a Frenchman, was translated, he wrote a whole thing about the Kraken. And it was translated to English in 1755, and it made claims such as the Kraken being mistaken for an island again. So these are over, 600 years apart, and yet they're still calling it the size of an island due to its vast size. But the real danger was not the actual Kraken itself, but the whirlpool it left whenever it swam away.
Ooh, you'd have to have something of big size to leave a whirlpool.
Yeah. And that's kind of a weird thing because there's no other real description of whirlpools that Krakens leave, at least that I could find. And trust me, my research was not very thorough. He did describe the creature as able to hold the largest man of war, which was an expression for a powerful navy ship used between the 16th and 19th century. Which is basically big old ship. Just, it wasn't really a particular size, it was just a ship, but it was able to drag it to the bottom of the ocean with ease. Had no issue dragging these giant, ships.
Yeah,
Again,
they're those big endgame ships from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I remember those. They were difficult. They're big ships.
They are big ships, and the Kraken could apparently just drag them to the ocean like a piece of piss. Most famously seen in Pirates of the Caribbean At World's End, where it did it to Jack Sparrow's ship very easily.
I call bullshit.
Bullshit. Didn't happen.
Straight up. Pirates of the Caribbean did not happen, I'm telling you now.
Nah.
It's a fictional movie.
Full of shit.
I'm telling you now, it didn't happen. Jack Sparrow's not a real pirate. Alright, continue.
I guess we can go into some famous sightings, and there's not too many on the Kraken, per se.
Okay.
Once we move into the giant squid, that's a different story.
Ooh.
So the first described giant squid or Kraken, or the first sign of, I guess, giant octopuses being documented, go all the way back to ancient Rome, with Aristotle noting a giant squid when he was discussing animals. Another famous sighting, and this is more so a famous sea creature sighting, but this could have been a Kraken, was in 1848, the ship Daedalus encountered a giant dark brown sea creature with a yellowish white colour around its throat that was estimated to be 60 feet in length, or 18 metres. That followed their ship for about 20 minutes, sorry. Some have theorized this to be a kraken or a sea serpent, or some have called it a type of whale. There isn't really too much information on it. The people on the ship just kind of went, "Oh, what's that?" And there was a giant thing following them.
Okay. Did they note if it had any tentacles?
No, never said anything about it. It's been most famously called a whale. I can't remember the type of whale. Where was it?
Interesting.
I did see this somewhere. I didn't write it down.
There's a few whales out there that are definitely 18 meters in length.
Yeah.
I mean, the whale shark is 18 meters in length.
Yeah, exactly. And they just described it as this thing that was following their boat.
Yeah, interesting.
Nothing really happened.
Okay. Guess you could interpret that as a kraken or a giant squid.
Yeah, just it's something followed their ship for 20 minutes. I don't know what to think of it. Like, it could have been a kraken.
It's just not enough information to make a proper judgment.
Again, a fellow...
Could be a megalodon.
Could be. It could definitely be a megalodon, actually.
If you interpret it that way, it could be.
Another lad named Eric Pondo Pidan. I don't know how to pronounce it. He, in 1680, he described the sighting of a potential kraken washed ashore in, excuse my pronunciation, Alsartahaug in Norway. Nice. Again, not much information. He just describes as a giant octopus squid thing washed up on the beach, but he did describe it as a young and careless one in regarding its size. Now, again, there is no information on how big it actually was. So there's no way to tell what this could have been. It could have very well have been a giant squid, which, again, we'll come into very shortly. But
1680. God.
There was a Frenchman. Now, this guy got a lot of public ridicule for some of his claims.
Okay.
Where was he? What? I'm just trying to make sure I've got the right fella.
It's a shame there weren't any, ways to take pictures and stuff in 1680. I think if there were, there'd be a lot less sightings of these sort of things.
Yeah. It's just a shame.
It always seems to happen back then.
I know.
Where are all these sightings now? Where's a 2022 sighting of the Kraken?
I know. It's just bullshit. It's unfair. That's what it mainly is. It's unfair.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy was...
I watched Meg.
This guy was a Frenchman. I've discovered. I've made double sure this guy's a Frenchman, which is just rubs you wrong way because it's not a real country.
A little bit.
Anyway, Pierre Montfort. He was around in 1802. So not that long ago, really, in terms of the large, time span of things. He described two different types of large octopus. A kraken, which he has said been described by Norwegian sailors and American whalers. Now, there is a common, myth that I won't go too much into about Norwegian sailors arriving in America before anyone else did. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to state that as a fact.
Oh, conspiracy. Next episode.
Anyway, there was also a much larger type of octopus, which he described as attacking a sailing vessel off the west coast of Africa, which is a good cry away from where these have most notably been seen around, which are the countries of Norway, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, places like that.
It's a long way.
Again, not that much information regarding it. He just said it attacked a ship. And you're kind of sick. I wish I could see it. He also made the claim that 10 British warships were attacked and sunken by a kraken one night when they all mysteriously disappeared just into thin air. No, none of these ships have been found from what I could find.
We need James Cameron.
Yeah.
Where's his little submarine?
There was one thing that did happen with this story, though, and this kind of ruined Pierre Montfort's reputation from what I could find. So he's come around telling everyone, all right, Kraken sunk all these ships, done. 10 British warships, which weren't little things. They were big ships, all sunk one night, just gone. Anyway, after saying all these things, a survivor of this came by and he went, nah, these were all destroyed in a giant storm. I was there, saw it happen.
Oh, so he's lying.
Mm. Now, I think this is a common thing, as I was saying before with Brandon, is that a lot of the sightings of these giant, I guess, creatures are myth, and people prop them up to, I guess, seem bigger than they actually were for like props.
Extravagant standards, yeah.
Now,
that's funny you mention that, because at the time of that 1918 Megalodon report with the lobster cages, there was a big storm. So that could also have played a part in something like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is where the stuff with the Kraken and gets a little bit interesting, because, as I was saying before, giant squid do exist. They are an actual real thing. First sightings of them began in the 14th century, when reports of like giant tentacles and bodies floating at seas and beachings would occur. This relates pretty closely with that Eric Pondo-Pidden fella, where he described a kraken washed ashore in Norway. Giant squid are most commonly found in the North Atlantic, around the Nordic countries. Could have been. Who knows?
Okay. Yeah, so it's just putting two and two together, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of these, like, I guess, sightings of giant squid and kraken washed along the beach, yeah, they match what, like, we have found. We've, like, the only times we've really seen giant squid are when they're washed ashore.
Yep.
And this is probably the biggest flaw with the kraken's, like, I guess, story, is there is valid, like, accounts of giant squid. There are none of the kraken. Like, the kraken as we know it, which is this, like, 100-foot long, kilometre-sized creature. Never been found.
Yeah, so the kraken is noted to be much bigger than a giant squid.
Yeah, much bigger. Giant squid are reported around... The largest one found is 43 feet, 13 metres, which isn't little. Like...
No.
As I was comparing sizes, a Viking long shit would range between 45 and 75 feet, or 14 to 23 metres. So these giant squid could have been at least half the size of these things. They were massive creatures.
That's like 6 shacks.
Yeah, it's pretty big. And this is
at least 9 Danny DeVito.
Yeah. And this is a real thing. Like, this is still around. Yeah. These things exist now.
I know, he used to play basketball.
And this also kind of relates to, like, I guess some of the sightings of the kraken back in ancient Nordic folklore, is they might have seen these giant things swimming next to their boats and been like, oh, wow, these things are huge. Now, there hasn't really been any, like, documented attacks of giant squids. Little is known about their behaviour, actually, because, like, they're so hard to find. Fun story, though. Apparently they fight sperm whales. Like, pretty often.
Really?
Yeah, they punch on with sperm whales.
Oh, what do you think? They just, like, face hug from aliens? Just wrap around its face?
There have been marks found on sperm whales that match squid marks. Like, the bites of squid.
Bites?
Yeah, like, you know how in the Pirates of the Caribbean, when you look into its mouth, it's got all these rows of teeth. It's kind of like that, except it's one big tooth. Is how I can really describe it. Yeah, these things like and they have little barbs on their suckers.
Oh,
they're nasty. They're really nasty.
That's terrifying. I never would have thought they'd be sort of dangerous.
Yeah, well, no one knows what they like. If they just like to fight sperm whales, people they might just they might be cool with everything else. They might just hate sperm whales.
It's got some grudge.
Yeah,
because we just find them dead, don't we?
Yeah, just washed up on beaches. There's been only like 2 or 3 found live in the water. And the most like it was only like 2004 we actually recorded one.
Do we know how far down they live? Is this sort of a Mariana Trench
we do.
Sort of thing?
We do know how far down they live. Between 1,000 and 2,000 feet.
Oh, okay.
So quite deep, but they're nowhere near the areas of the Mariana Trench. Like I said, they're most commonly found in the North Atlantic.
Geographically, yeah. Okay.
There have been 733 confirmed giant squid sightings and there's estimated to be a total population of 7.3 million. Although
that's a lot of sightings.
Oh, that's the amount of giant squid.
Oh, okay.
So, like, who knows how big these things really do get?
Yeah. That's true.
There isn't really much supporting the myth of the Kraken, which is sad to say. It's more commonly just become this major pop culture icon due to, like, famous things. Again, like Pirates of the Caribbean or, what's the name of that
totally
book?
Real, yeah.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where people have just attached the myth of this, like, giant thing and just made it seem enormous. Like this mythical creature.
Yeah.
One of the things I did find interesting was with some of these described attacks are shark attacks, matching, I guess, some of the description of a giant kraken, sorry. Some people on boats might have just seen, like, people that have come off the boat screaming around in the water, and they wouldn't have seen maybe tentacles. They just would have seen someone get sucked down at the bottom of the water, which with shark attacks, sometimes there's obviously going to be a lot of blood because sharks have big old teeth.
They do.
And the shark might have just dragged them to the bottom of the ocean because they can do that pretty easily.
Especially Megalodon.
Yeah, especially Megalodon.
Throwback, yeah.
I
mean, yeah, to be fair, if you're getting attacked by a sea creature, the last thing you're going to do is stop and look at it. You'll be thrashing around trying to get away from it.
Yeah, and if someone's watching it, they'll be like, this beast must be huge. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's Mark. He's getting Tenny DeVito. He's getting fucked up by 8 sharks. Like.
Yeah.
So yeah, people just thought maybe these giant creatures are described, like, attacking them.
Yeah, gotcha.
The other thing is the Kraken is more commonly depicted as a giant octopus rather than a squid. But no such octopus have ever been found matching the size of a Kraken, just squid.
So can I ask a silly question?
Go for it.
What's the difference between an octopus and a squid?
Could not tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I know what octopus look like, and I know what squid look like. Could it really be that simple?
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean? Just like a basic octopus.
Octopus are a lot more...
bitch octopus.
Octopus are a lot more intimidating than squid, though.
Dude, octopi are aliens.
I know.
They're so weird.
And they're so smart.
What the hell is that thing?
I don't know.
They are.
Now...
What's that Netflix show? My Octopus or something? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. What's it about?
I should. I don't know about octopus. I should watch it. I'll get back to you. Next episode, we'll do a callback.
Again, the only real thing that, like, could go in the Kraken's favour as existing is the ocean is vast. We still don't know what's really out there. It would be cool. It'd be really cool if there was a giant Kraken out at sea.
They say roughly 90 to 95% is unexplored.
That's a massive amount.
It's ridiculous.
It's so big.
It's very big.
Too large. Chill out.
How many shacks do you reckon could fill that up?
Hang on.
At very least 10.
Let's do some quick math. How liters in the ocean? Let's type that in.
Who's out there with like a little measuring cup just scooping up the ocean one cup at a time?
1.35 billion trillion liters.
Billion
trillions. Alright, 1.35 billion trillion into let's go centimeters.
Centimeters squared or something?
Centimeters squared. No, can't do it. It's at least one shack.
It's at least. Yeah, we're gonna have to get a few shacks sorted.
Just cloning. But yeah,
don't even start on Danny.
There haven't been many Kraken sightings. It's a shame. I think it's more just become this pop culture icon.
Of course. I reckon Pirates of the Caribbean did so much for the Kraken.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely...
So much.
And then movies like Clash of the Titans...
yeah.
Like, again, stuff like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And then you've got video games like Sea of Thieves. God of War 2 has a Kraken in it, I believe.
What's that really famous line? I don't know what it's from, if it's from a book, if it's from a movie. I've never heard it, but someone says, like, release the Kraken. Do you know what that's from?
Clash of the Titans.
Is it really?
I think so.
I watched that movie once when it first came out. I thought it was so boring.
Yeah, it's horrible. That movie is awful.
Yeah.
And
is that the one with Jai Courtney?
I don't even know.
Like Captain Boomerang?
Yeah, you speak in French.
Yeah, alright.
Obviously,
pretty sure isn't the best movie.
It's Liam Neeson? Liam Neeson's the one that says it. Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe I'll pop that as our opening audio bite.
Liam Neeson is the Liam Neeson is the Kraken confirmed. Done. Story solved. Liam Neeson is the Kraken.
Yep.
Here's an important question, and I think we need to break this down.
Okay.
The Kraken and the Megalodon do exist, which they do.
Yeah, long time ago.
Who wins in a fight? Again,
Megalodon.
Why?
Do you want to know why? I would say that the Megalodon is far more maneuverable.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is the Kraken... Are we talking octopus Kraken or squid Kraken?
Let's go an estimate. 100 meters, 100 like feet.
Mythical
100
Kraken.
feet Kraken.
Yeah. Okay. I would say Megalodon. I would say it's faster. I would say it's much more aggressive and harsh. It hunts for a living.
Mm-hmm.
It's a predator. Those teeth are ridiculous. One bite from those in the right place, you're done. I mean, the Kraken has to do so much to get you in its tentacles.
But does it, though?
I don't
like,
know.
think about this, right? Okay. I don't know. Kraken with tentacles as long as 10 meters long. If it's 30 meters long and the tentacles are just 10 meters, which this is like an estimated, like it could be a lot bigger. I doubt it'd be any smaller. This is on the smaller end, I'd assume, because they have been described as the size of islands, with some being described as kilometers in length, like Yogamander off God of War type things, where World Serpent type shit. Yeah. They're just huge.
Yeah.
I think they could wrap up a Megalodon pretty quickly. Plus, octopus are smart. You can count that. Octopus attack people like on the regular, and they go for their head every time. They know exactly where to go.
Yeah.
They don't fuck around. I feel like if it gets like one of its really long tentacles wrapped around, like, was there a thing on how wide the Megalodon was?
Not really. It's just roughly 30 to 50 tons, 18 max meters, 59 feet. Not really. I guess you could sort of figure that out if you did the math, but not really.
It's a thick boy.
It's, pretty huge. I don't know how many shacks width-wise that is, but...
At least one.
I'll get back to you.
I feel like if a Kraken can wrap its tentacles around it with those barbs too, that I guess giant squid are described as having.
Okay, yeah, it could probably latch onto it.
I don't know how many barbs they have. I don't know how many suckers they have per tentacle, but if there's I don't know, 20, that'll do a good amount of damage pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But what does it do? Does it drag it head first into the Kraken's mouth? Or does it suffocate it?
Yeah, who wins, like, face-to-face, like, charge? I'd say the Megalodon would win that.
But if it's as big as you're saying, its mouth could probably, take it all at once.
You know who does win?
Who?
The fans.
The fans always win.
We need to see this. Disney. Animate it. Do it now.
Yeah.
Kraken versus
Get back to
Megalodon.
us.
Fist fight. Who wins?
Yep.
I guess the next best thing we could really see is a giant squid versus sperm whale.
Oh, for sure.
If they get that on video.
I'd pay to see that.
If they get that on video. Woohoo! We're in for a good time.
Okay, you got any more regarding the Kraken?
I don't. That is everything I could find on the Kraken.
So, where are you with the Megalodon? What are you thinking? You believe in this thing? Obviously it was real at some point, millions of years ago. But as of 2021...
22.
What do you think? Oh, yeah, right. Whoops. As of 2022, what do you think? Is this thing still around?
A skeptical yes.
Okay.
I think there is a minute, very tiny chance it does exist. Science doesn't point in its favour, but science is wrong all the time. They didn't think a giant squid could exist, and it does.
Yeah, science didn't make Pirates of the Caribbean, so what have they done for us?
That's the tagline.
I don't buy it. Yeah.
Science didn't make Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, nah. I don't buy it.
You don't reckon?
I think it died
You reckon
a long time ago. Just like dinosaurs, other prehistoric creatures. I think this thing's just dead. And we're finding its teeth. You know? And people, it's getting the best of people who like to think of these things as real, which I'll admit is me too. Like, science, like you said, does not point in its favour, but I would hope for the tiny, tiny chance that it is real and still around. But yeah, I mean, there's just not enough food at the bottom of the Mariana Trench for it to survive, and if it was anywhere else, I dare say we would have seen it by now, because there's no photos of a megalodon in existence. There's no proven sightings of a megalodon. There's a famous German U-boat picture, which the History Channel put out, completely fake. Proven fake, photoshopped. So there's no proof apart from teeth that it's currently still around.
Right.
So I'm not buying it.
There is one famous video, and I know this one's real for a fact. I wish I could remember the name of it, but basically it's a deep water camera that they basically put some food in.
Yep.
And they spot this giant shark. Now, they can't get the whole shark on frame, but it was fucking massive, and it looks ancient. Like, it looks old. It's got scars all over
people
it.
People in the cage?
No, it's just a deep water camera of it. And it is real, like, it's an actual image, and they measured it, like, they estimated how long it was out of, like, camera, but I'm no scientist. I didn't make Pirates of the Caribbean. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how big it was, but it was massive. And I guess there's a chance it might be real, or was real. Probably isn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jason Statham fought one recently. That's good enough evidence for me.
Yeah. Well, was he in Pirates of the Caribbean?
He was not.
Yeah. So that's the measurement of anything that's real now.
What, Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, has it been in that movie? If not, it's not real.
Yeah. No, planes don't exist. No,
No.
not like that.
Electricity? No.
Guns, obviously. Flintlock only.
Mm-hmm.
Davy Jones.
Yeah.
What do you think? Kraken.
They all reside in Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah.
I think the Kraken is... I don't think the Kraken itself is real. I think the giant squid is 100% real. I mean, it's pretty much been proven, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That the giant octopus or squid is real. What do you think? You did a bit more on this.
Kraken doesn't exist. I don't think it ever did. I think giant squid or colossal squid, I think there might have been bigger ones around that have been spotted that just haven't been documented. There's nothing to say that there couldn't be an 100-foot giant squid. Only since the biggest one we found, I think, was 39 feet. or how big did I say it was? 43 feet. Like, there's nothing to say that it could have been 100 feet. There's nothing to say it could have been 50 feet. Like, there's just so little documentation from those times, and it's probably been lost in translation 1,000 times, that anything that did happen was like, doesn't exist. I hope it's real. I wish there was a giant octopus that would fuck shits up. Fuck ships up.
I mean, we can both admit that ocean's big. Don't know everything that's in it, so in conclusion, ocean big.
Yes, that's the conclusion. You think that's going to wrap it up?
Yeah, I reckon we wrap it up. Do you want me to take us out, or do you want to take us out?
I'll take us out. Thank you, everyone, for watching the first episode of the Stonks Networks Presents. What's the name of it again?
I keep forgetting
The Tall Tale Happy Hour. We'll probably
the Tall Tale Happy Hour.
Yes, presented by your host Tyron and Brandon. We'll probably be doing this, I think, fortnightly, roughly, just because it does take a little bit of research, and if we did it weekly, we would just be spreading as much misinformation as a lot of these myths do.
It's not because we want to be thorough, it's just because time restrictions.
Yeah, nothing else.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. We hope to do bigger, better things in the future, especially better quality. But,
if anyone has any sort of things that they feel like that we should cover, or they're interested in, with cryptoids or extraterrestrial things, conspiracies, just pop them in the comments wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll have a look into it.
Or just message us on Instagram's probably the best way to reach us, in honesty. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.